Hello everyone, Peppe Merolla here, and again, welcome back here to my show, Peppe Merolla and Friends. And this time, I have the pleasure of having two wonderful friends and great musicians, great Marco Panascia. Those guys are good from Italy, Marco Panascia and Dario Chiazzolino, which they are two wonderful musicians from Italy, living in New York City. Now, in the past, I had so many great musicians such as Peter Merolla, Mike Rana, Franco Giovera, many others, Jim Rotondi. This time, this live stream has really a special place in my heart because those guys are brothers to me, and I admire them, I love them, and I'm going to introduce them to you guys. The great Marco Panascia. There you go, Marco.
How you doing?
And Dario Chiazzolino.
Eccomi qua.
Ciao
Peppe,
ragazzi.
ciao Marco.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. How you doing?
Allora. So how are you guys doing?
All good.
Hanging in there.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. I mean, sometimes the audio cuts in and out, but
Exactly, but
it's fine. I mean, we're gonna make it work.
Okay, that's cool. Well, anyway, Marco Panascia, great bass player, a lot of musicians. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who he is, and as well as Dario Chiazzolino. But Marco, tell us about when did you move to New York? What was your motivation? How did you find yourself into jazz music, playing bass? What was your history? How did you end up being a bass player?
Yeah.
But besides, I think the same question would be also for Dario, but I want to start with Marco because I have to do something here. So I'll let you talk. That's your turn.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, when I was 8 years old, I started playing the piano, and I played the piano for about 5-6 years, so until I was like 14. And at the time, I was still living in Sicily, in Catania. And I was not crazy, about the piano at the time, but at the same time, it was really helpful because it helped me, it gave me a foundation, for music theory and also, reading. A lot of things, it was really, I didn't care much for it at the time, but now I realize, how important it was for me, for my musical upbringing. Then when I was about 16, I started playing the electric bass. I got a $50 bass, from a classmate, so I went into a rock band, starting to play like classic rock, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, I was into heavy metal, like Slayer, Iron Maiden, Metallica, that kind of stuff. And then when I was about 18 or 19, I discovered Jaco Pastorius, and it was my connection, between rock and funk and jazz. I mean, like all different, because he was able to play all styles, as you all know well. So that was like my connection to jazz. And then when I was about 20, I started playing the upright bass. I got into the conservatory, so I was studying classical bass, for a while. At the same time, I was still, playing the electric at and then when I was about 25 years old, I applied to Berklee College of Music. They gave me a good scholarship, so I moved to Boston. So I spent my first 3 years in the United States in Boston. I got my degree from Berklee College of Music, and then in 2002, I moved to New York. I mean, the official excuse was to get a master's degree from Manhattan School of Music. So I moved here, 18 years ago, and I've been here ever since, because after I graduated from Manhattan School of Music, I started freelancing and working a lot and touring. So, I'm still here, after all these years.
Of course. Tu, invece, Dario, what was your beginning? What was, how, and why did you end up being a guitar player?
Well, actually, I was actually like 11, and I was really attracted to the guitar and to its sound, like in general. So, of course, I didn't know anything about jazz, about like sophisticated music. I was actually attracted to the sound of the electric guitar, like the distorted guitar. So I I got this guitar for as a Christmas gift from my parents when I was 11, and it was like love at first sight for sure. So I just started playing the guitar and never stopped. I remember that I was actually spending like 10 hours per day, just like playing with the guitar, even without knowing anything about that. It's just like the idea of like using the strings and trying to, combine some notes, random notes to create some music, right? So,
Of
and
course.
of course, after that, after the first approach, I took some lessons here and there, but I didn't have like a steady teacher that actually follows me for my learning process. So I consider myself like a self-taught musician, and till when of course, when I actually after the high school, I decided to go to the conservatory in Turin because I'm from Torino, Turin, Italy. Uh,
Yes.
Torino.
Torino. So I decided that okay, I wanted to make things very serious, so I have to get a degree, so I can really have some paper that can really prove that I'm a professional musician, right? So I got to the conservatory and got the degree, but of course the learning process was more like learning from other musicians and play with more expert musicians, people older than me, um, you know and of course, like I didn't start with jazz as I mentioned before. So the first period of my life as a musician was more into rock music, hard rock, progressive, you know like probably all guitar players when they start playing, they always like start with some more aggressive music, right?
Shredding.
And yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah.
at some point I realized that I wanted to expand my language horizons. I wanted to be more sophisticated, more so jazz was actually the right answer. So I decided to listen to musicians like Charlie Parker, Bill Evans, John Coltrane. So and of course, and then I ended up listening to all the you know guitar players like Django Reinhardt, um, Wes Montgomery. So these two guys are the most important for me for my learning process. And of course, then I discovered all the modern musicians like John Scofield, of course, Mike Stern, Pat Metheny, all the other guys. But
Yeah.
I had to thank probably more Wes Montgomery because it really showed me how to play the guitar. Like and of course, and all the other musicians came later. So uh, of course,
No, I kind of agree with you. I do agree about Wes Montgomery because listen, if you listen to George Benson,
exactly.
65-70% of his chops are coming from Wes Montgomery thing. Some of the stuff that he does is
Hmm.
really kind of like Wes.
Of course.
But he was he still is one of the great mentor to me. I agree with you 100%. But so how did you guys like New York so far? First of all, what is the situation, Marco, right now? I don't want to go in details. I
Yeah.
don't want to be sad about COVID-19. We all know how hard it is, and you know. So I feel the pain for you guys. Like we're in the same boat here in the United States.
Yeah.
What is the climb right now? What is the situation in New York? Is it getting better? You guys more like going out and working, getting gigs?
It's not really ideal. I mean, like unfortunately, the all the indoor venues are all still they're not allowed to open. So this means that all the clubs are basically closed. But most of them has started doing
Like
online live webcasts. So basically, having the musicians play there without an audience,
Mhm.
and having the internet audience, like pay a small fee or like
right, right,
contribute
right. Or
something.
maybe find a sponsor.
Yeah, exactly. Private sponsors, so that's the way it's being done. And like for me, like I'm really excited about something this coming Friday. I was invited by the Goldstein shop, which is a famous, bass and string instrument shop on Long Island, and so I'm gonna do a webcast from there on this Friday at 7 p.m. New York Times, and it's very special for me because they're gonna let me play Scott LaFaro's bass, the one that he used, for the Village Vanguard sessions, with Bill Evans. So I'm really really looking forward to that. I'm gonna do the whole webcast, with that bass.
So can you tell us again when this is going to happen? The
Yeah,
date?
it's gonna be on on Friday at 7 p.m. New York time, so 4 p.m. California time, or what is it like? Italy would be 1 a.m. It's a little late. 1 a.m. Italy time.
Well, it's the time. Everybody's awake at 1 o'clock a.m.
Yeah. I hope so. So yeah, so the information is going to be posted on coasting.com, and if you're curious about hearing me play Scott LaFaro's bass, here's your chance.
And not only Scott LaFaro's bass, it's a great, it must be a great feeling. It's a great thing to play.
Yeah, it's a great bass. I already played it a couple of times, and man.
See, but it's not only that. You guys, I really suggest all of you guys to check it out because Marco, it's a beautiful thing, the fact that he's playing with Scott LaFaro bass, which is great. But Marco Panascia, guys, check him out. If you don't know who he is right there, which I think not many people, I think many people knows already who he is. But if you don't know who Marco Panascia is, check him out on this coming Friday because he's going to blow you guys. He's going to blow your mind. He's a great, wonderful musician. I would suggest all of you guys to check him out. I played with Marco. When we met like 25 years, 20 years ago?
At the NAMM show in 2000. Yeah. You were jamming at some drum booth or whatever, and I was like walking by the bass there, and I sat in. Yeah.
And you were checking out the BSX bass. Do you remember?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were all skinny, you and I.
Right.
I was I am now.
We're gonna get back there. We're working on it, right?
Oh no, yes, definitely.
If I compare the video that the Drumeo video, the three of us, me, Dario, and you, from the NAMM show,
right.
With the two, it definitely lost weight. That is always been skinny, so he doesn't have the same problem, But
Dario, I gotta give you some of my weight to you.
Take it.
Yeah, but it's cool. Yeah.
So, but that's when we met. I met Marco Panascia in year 2000 in Los Angeles. Was that in Los Angeles or Anaheim?
It was in Los Angeles. It was in Los Angeles, California, because that year the NAMM show was held there. They moved it for a year or two from Anaheim. I think they were doing construction at the Anaheim Convention Center, so they moved it to LA for a couple of years, and that's where we met.
C'è sta Nicola Mingo che ti saluta. Ciao Nicola, un abbraccio forte. And we got what's his name here? Let me see. Oh, Mirko Zitillo. Ciao Mirko. We got Angelo Incarnato, who's watching also as well. Hello Angelo. So guys, feel free to ask any questions. If you guys live in Italy, se state in Italia, se state guardando e avete delle domande, noi saremo felicissimi di dialogare con voi. E quindi, so for any of you guys out there, guitar players, bass players, drummers, any questions, we hear this live stream. The idea is to communicate and give everyone an opportunity to interact with the artist directly. So any question, please do so. We'll be more than happy to hear from you. Adesso, let's see. Dario.
Yes.
Dario, what about you lately? What are you doing? I see you doing a lot of clinics and masterclass, right?
Yeah, of course. I felt like that I needed to do something like from my side, and of course, since we can't play, there is no club, there's nothing happening in clubs and like venues. Of course, I decided to move everything online, and so I've been doing like clinics and I would say like small shows, not real shows because of course you don't have any interactions like real interaction with people, but I would say that clinics are working very well, and of course like online teaching like in general. So I think it's wonderful, and technology actually really allows us to do whatever you want as a musician. So that's a great fortune. But of course, I'm missing a lot playing, and I'm missing like being on stage and communicating with people after our shows. And but I'm very optimistic that things are gonna get back to normal. Maybe it's gonna take a while. I know we know that, and probably it's gonna be maybe another year, probably, or who knows? It's impossible to predict. But
yeah,
so far,
we can really say it.
Yeah.
for what I hear from a lot of a lot of friends and other musicians, and we don't know what's going to happen when we're going to go
Right.
back to normal. When we're going to go back playing, and traveling. I talked to some of the people, and they say they had to, postpone tours,
Hmm.
unfortunately, and they don't know
Every,
when.
everyone.
Right.
Yeah, like we're supposed to playing in New York. I supposed to do the CD, a Happy Time CD release tour. You
Hmm.
guys remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I had
Supposed
to
to be in May,
postpone the
right?
whole thing. I was supposed to be in Italy and
Hmm.
in
yeah.
Mexico, in Monterrey, but nothing. I mean, we don't know. Yeah,
No
it's
name show in January.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
no. But I can't wait that we're going to go. I'm sure I can't wait that we're going to go back to to play live and be
Hmm.
able to travel and have human contact and see friends. Can you guys believe how joyful we're going to be and what kind of energy we're going to be playing after a
It's true.
long time?
Definitely.
Playing for a live audience, like real people there at the club or whatever. We're going to be so happy. I can't wait for that moment to
Super
come.
excited,
Really.
Yeah. So let's
of
just hang
course.
in there, be hopeful, and let's keep
Yeah.
wearing a mask and play our part.
So now, Dario, I got another one question for you, and then
Of
the same
course.
thing for both of you. You guys have any records out, CDs out?
Yeah, of course. By the way, I just wanted to start with a record that includes me and Marcos. So it was actually probably my first experience in New York. It was back into January 2011, I think. Yes, and we did a record together. So me, Marco, and Tyler Eichsty and um, Willie Jones on the drums. So it was
Beautiful,
amazing.
great
Yeah,
band.
it was a quartet, and we did the record. So the name of the record is "The Paint Your Life," and so Marco was probably the first guy that I met in New York, or one of the first guys that I met in New York. So, and because I only moved to New York in 2015, so I'm still a new guy here, sort of. But yeah. Besides that, of course, I'm working on a solo guitar album right now because I thought that that's probably the best moment for doing this. So isolation so equals that, okay, I'm gonna concentrate on this album because I'm not gonna have another opportunities like that. So, and plus I was supposed to be touring and recording other albums in Italy and Europe. So I thought, okay, this is the right time to do it. And so it's gonna be
So,
like
so
yeah,
when the
mixed.
CD is going to come out, it's going to be
um
released.
I think it's gonna be around December, Christmas time, maybe, like around the date. Because I think it's a nice, moment of the year to release something. Plus, of course, I'm waiting for like a tour for the release, but okay, for that we gotta wait. Um, yeah, can't wait to it because actually I've been kind of postponing this album for years because I didn't have any time to focus and work on it. But now I did it, and I'm really excited about that, and I can't wait to release it and have everyone to listen to it.
And I wish you all the best with it.
Thanks a lot.
How about you, Marco? I know you did a lot of.
Yeah, let me go get it.
You're getting it.
Well, here it is.
Ken
And
Simpson.
what is it? A duo recording with the great Dario Deida, which
Mhm.
everybody knows. The best bass player in the world.
Dario Deida.
So yeah, yeah, yeah,
What a family are great musicians.
yeah, definitely. So this is available on Bandcamp. So just look me up on Bandcamp under my name, Marco Panascia, and you're gonna find it there. And on Bandcamp, there's a bonus track that's not on the CD. So you can get that as well. Cool.
This is wonderful, and I know you also made a lot of. You have a lot of records out as a sideman as well. I'm
Yeah,
sure, right?
definitely.
So, and I gotta say this because a lot of people don't know, and I like to be. I remember, first of all, I like to be very grateful to the beautiful things, good things and bad things that happen to all of us. We're going to go into that too. So you guys get ready. But anyway, no, because Marco Panaccia, when I first met Marco, I was living at the time. I think I was living in Las Vegas. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, there
No,
or
because-
before California. Maybe you were in the Bay Area, and then you moved to Vegas. Yeah,
Yeah. So because you came to see me at my house in Vegas.
yeah. But that was like a couple years later.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
yeah,
but anyway, Marco Panascia, when I met him, he was the very first guy, the very first musician from New York. Actually, I got to say this, just like you, Dario.
Mhm.
You know, you Marco was the first guy you met. I was the first guy who met Marco,
Perfect.
and that yeah, I like to be grateful and always remind myself and to others that it's nice to be grateful to people, and be grateful. Marco was the one who really was giving me some good tips when I was thinking of moving to New York City at the time. And he was the one who introduced me to Vincent Herring. He was doing the jam session at the Up Over. Do you remember?
of course, yeah, that was
Marco really, because my first gig with Vincent Herring was because of Marco.
yeah, that's right.
He gave me the name of this club, which was on Flatbush.
Yeah.
The name of the club, which Vincent used to live like a block away from it, and the club was the Up Over. It
Yeah,
was a really good, place to go, and everyone was there, all the rising stars.
exactly. Robert Glasper and everybody. Yeah,
Everyone was going there on the Monday.
I know.
EJ Strickland, the brothers, EJ brothers.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
Marcus
oh
Strick.
man,
Yeah,
yeah, everyone was there every Monday, and it was a great spot. And I remember Marco was the one who said, I'm going there tonight. Let's go together. We went together the first time. Then I keep on going. After 2 or 3 times, Vincent Herring gave me my first gig.
yeah,
And I got my first gig in New York with Vincent because of Marco.
yeah. And he still work with him to this day.
Oh yeah, I'm still.
Yeah.
Well, I just came back from being. I don't want to have from China. China. No, voglio dire, no. But yeah, yes, we had a great time, and still nowadays still working with him, and But thank you, Marco, because like I met what's his name, the great bass player, Jeff Berlin,
Mhm.
because of Marco hooked me up 5 years ago. It was
Yeah.
5 years ago, right?
Right, that's right. Yeah.
And he called me up for this gig. So since you're going to be an M, and and I
When
said,
you
yeah,
drummer, can you do it? Yeah. That's how it works.
yeah. A lot of people, they think, it's I do believe that it's very important to be grateful to other musicians and be real, because I know some people sometimes they say, oh, I did everything on my own. It's not true. There's always somebody that's, and it's nice to be grateful and tell the truth,
Yeah,
because that's what we live for. If you lie to yourself, you cannot be real to the music, I believe also,
Mhm.
as well. I mean, if you're real, you can be real when you play too as well, music. And
Right.
Dario, and I met you on NEM show. We
Yeah.
played this beautiful gig at Dramio. Was like something like I didn't even know about the Dramio thing. No, because they called me that specific like 2 hours before, and I called Marco. He was on his way to NEM.
that's right.
And I said, Marco, Dramio just called me. I got to do something there. I don't know what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
but we got to do something. And finally, we were able to play for the first time together at NEM, which was very loud, that place, very hard to play. But, we had a great time. And actually, guys, check it out on Drum Mio, Peppe Merolla trio with Marco Panascia and Dario Chiazzolino. We really try to, we give our best. We had a great time. And there's many a good response about the video. And there's a lot of energy. So check it out, because those guys are great musicians, especially Marco and Dario are, to me, as some of my, the best. And I'm very proud of you guys, because you guys are Italian. And, some of the real great jazz musicians that we have in New York from Italy, we have Marco Panascia, Dario Chiazzolino, Also, there is also um, Joseph Lepore, another bass player,
Yeah,
very good. Also, the other guitar player, what's his name? He's always a Smalls. He's very good guitar player, wonderful guitar player. He plays a Smalls all the time, and his brother is a great saxophone player, alto player. Lives in.
Oh yeah, Pasquale Grasso.
That's it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Pasquale Grasso, those
All
guys.
Italian guys.
Yeah, there is also some other musicians and drummers, like Luca Santaniello, which is another good drummer. There's so many, and I'm very proud of all of you guys for being, for being in New York City and and keep the Italian proud always. But now, Marco, yes, now
Grazie
you're also
mille.
American, right? I followed you afterwards, but now you're also an American citizen.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I became a citizen 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
now I have 2 passports, and it's gonna be it's a good thing, because like next month I want to go see my parents, because in Sicily.
And you can do it right now.
And
because
yeah,
you
I'll be able to do it because I can.
go get
You
back
know,
here.
when I go to Europe, I'm going to show my Italian passport, and when I
Exactly.
come back to the US, I'm going to show my American passport. So I'm not going to have a hard time, coming back and going. So it's
Right.
definitely helpful. Yeah.
So how about Marco and Dario, both of you? What is since I know I lived in New York, but it's nice to maybe for people who are following right now that they don't know what the vibe. So why don't you tell us, about your experience in New York, how you get, hooked up in New York and start playing music and making connection. How was New York? How did New York work out for you guys?
Dario?
Okay, so technically, as I said before, I've been here for, I would say, like 4 years and a half, and because of course I don't spend like all the year here, like in New York, so I travel a lot. Besides, of course, the last like 6 months probably. I would say that New York was a love at first sight. I came here the first time, it was 2010. I realized that okay, I'm gonna find a way to come to New York, to make it work, to find a way to get a visa and work with the New York musicians, because I realized that okay, here is the best scenery that I ever seen in my life, and I wanna grow as a musician, and I thought New York was actually the right answer, and so I started playing with the New York musicians. Of course, Marco was the first one. I remember it was 2010, probably was like March or April, and we had like a super like beautiful rehearsal together at your place. It was with the other drummer. I'm missing his name. Anyway, so
Yeah, it's been a while, like 10
yeah,
years.
it's been 10 years ago, and and the year after I came to New York to make my first record as a leader with Marco and Taylor Exley and Willie Jones the third, and then of course I did the next years. Actually, I've been I worked a lot in Italy, Europe, but my goal was to come to New York. So in 2015, finally I got the visa and I moved to New York, and so I'm from that point I started collaborating with a lot of musicians in New York. Actually, not only New York, even from like other part of the states. Probably because people knew that I was here, so it was easy to connect with other parts of the states, and so I started collaborating with musicians, not only of the New York area, but of the Los Angeles area.
Los
as well.
Angeles?
Los Angeles.
Dove? Scusa, non ho capito. Can you
Los
repeat that
Angeles.
again?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. I think it's been like 4 years. We've been joking like kids, right? With this
So,
Los Angeles.
let's settle once for all. Is it Los Angeles or Los Angeles?
Los Angeles.
And we had the same joke with Turin, Torino, or Turin, or like we imitate like I mean,
Torino Red.
we might sound like probably like middle class students, but that's the way it is. And and then of course I started like touring in the States, and I started playing with this beautiful band called Spirit Fingers, and I'm so happy that I decided to move to the States. Really,
Però ogni tanto te la canti e te la suoni. Questo
ogni tanto sì, vedi, ho preso il microfono oggi per quello, perché poi io canto una canzone.
And New York worked perfect for you. You loved it.
Of
You
course,
loved
like
the vibe, right?
I love New York not only for the music and for arts. I love New York because it really gives you a lot of things to do. Like whatever you want to do, there is a way to to do it, and like anything you might think, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a wonderful place to be for anyone who wants to have a strong experience in life in general. So, and of course, and for music, I can imagine like a better place to be.
I know. I
um
know. I've been there for, I moved there and I lived there for 7, 8 years.
yeah.
And I felt like I had to do it, for something, for me. I had to do it, and it
Right.
was wonderful. So, about you, Marco?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the great thing about being here is that it really makes you grow as a human being and as a musician. I can pinpoint a lot of like single gigs, where I think I learned on those gigs. I learned more than what I learned in school, at Berkeley or Manhattan School of Music. I mean, which of course, was also very helpful. But New York kind of gave me that real life kind of experience, that you can't really get in school. Like I'm thinking back of those gigs, with Vincent at the Up Over, and I remember that Vince, he would start playing tunes, without calling them. He would just like start playing the melody, and he didn't really care, whether I knew it or not. So that's like the best way to learn. Kind of being put in a very like, if you will, like embarrassing kind of situation,
Hmm.
where you don't know the tune, but you don't want to make it seem like you're the bass player that doesn't know any tunes. So that's when you really like your radar really goes off, and you learn fast, when you're put in that kind of situation. So I remember I learned Whisper Not, Stablemates, a lot of tunes that are like harmonically complicated. I didn't know them, but I learned them right there and then, on that stage, with Vince, because you know,
Yeah. I
I
you know I don't know if you remember this very particular
yeah, awesome.
details. No, no, no. But I remember Vince used to show up with this huge bag, you know, like it was a little box, a
Yeah, yeah,
bag,
this
whatever,
too. Yeah,
full
yeah,
of music,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
would,
That's right. Yeah,
on the gig, he would have just pulled something out of the
yeah,
case,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
and it's like, let's play this now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like,
I mean that
holy
too, but then
cow, you
when
know?
they do standards, you would pick, like tunes, that were a little more complicated. At the time, I was still kind of young and green, So I'm really grateful for him, because it was an amazing learning experience. Kind of being, it's like throwing someone into the fire,
Hmm.
or like like jumping from a mountain, or it's what you call sink or swim kind of situation. It's like you got to do it. You got to do it, and you got to do your best. And I can quote another example. With another gig with it was quartet with Lee Konitz, Marco Di Gennaro, and Luca Santaniello. So two
Yeah.
great Italian musicians, and Lee Konitz. And for that gig, it was the same deal. Basically, Lee would not call any tunes. He would just like start playing, and it could be, sometimes he started from the top, sometimes he started from the bridge, sometimes he started from the last day, and it could be any key. So like My Funny Valentine, people generally do it in what, like C minor or E minor, I don't remember, but he did like, I don't know, like a F sharp minor, like keys, that you would not expect, with like certain standard tunes. And also, he didn't play the melody that we know. He didn't do like a da 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 da, the melody of My Funny Valentine. He basically improvised his own melody, which was like
Right.
as beautiful as the original melody, but it was his. He basically was like composing uh, a melody to those changes.
Right.
So you had, as an accompanist, you had to understand what tune he was implying, where he was in the form, what key was in, and so basically, I learned more on that 2 hour gig than like years of schooling.
Yeah, by guessing the name of the tune by the harmonic change.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, whoever would get it first between me and the pianist would start comping.
Right.
So I will always remember that gig because it taught me so much. And this is what New York is all about. Kind of putting
You're
yourself
ready.
in like really like hardcore kind of situations, where like you just gotta, just do your best, and that makes you grow real fast as a musician.
And then another thing that you might want to say, because I had an experience with Likonitz here in San Jose.
Mm.
He played so quiet,
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah,
so quiet, and the club was packed. No one even breathed. No one,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
he was playing so quiet that if you play even light sticks,
yeah, yeah,
it's too loud.
yeah,
Hmm.
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
you know, and that's one of the particular thing I think for drummers. That would be a great experience to play, in that way with the great Lee Konitz.
Yeah.
Also, because you have to really know your instrument, being command of the dynamic,
Hmm.
how to use it, how to control the dynamic,
Yeah, yeah,
especially when you play, a certain tempo, but it has to be very quiet. And Lee Konitz, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it was really unbelievable.
yeah.
That's what happened to you too, Marco?
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, we had to be really careful about the dynamics and everything. I mean, like, we were there as accompanists. Like the drums, the bass, and the piano are there to accompany the soloist. So it was a lesson in just doing your job, being an accompanist,
Yeah.
and not getting in the soloist's way. Like providing a cushion so that they could, so that Lee would create on top of it.
Hmm.
But
Nicola Di Battista. Ciao, Nicola.
Ciao, Nico.
yeah,
See, and then that was with Lee Konitz. Then, any other thing you want to add about New York City?
yeah. Well, it's a very intense place. I mean, like people are always running from one thing to another, and it's not really a quiet place. But there's the good thing about it is that there's this special energy that kind of translates itself into the music.
Now,
Uh,
do you guys see living in New York? You guys see yourself in New York for the rest of your life, or eventually you move out of New York City, still in the state, but out of New York City?
yeah,
Well, actually, I think that maybe I might move away from New York at some point when I feel like it's enough, probably like in 10 years, maybe, or something like that, because I want to explore the rest of the states. Maybe I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of places where you have like a better quality life, maybe for, another section and chunk of my life. But yeah, but for now, I think New York is the best place to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
and California actually is the second place for me, like a second home, I would say, because I go there, especially in Los Angeles, to Los Angeles many times per year.
Los Angeles.
Los
So Los
Angeles.
Angeles. So
In
it's
Los
impossible. I can't even mention Los Angeles, so we just start laughing. That's
No, but you gotta
it's
say
always
with
the same.
that inside voice from here, Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
So I'm very jealous about the weather that you guys have there. Even you, Pepe. So you're like more in the north, right? So but still like you have like probably the best weather in the world, right?
Well,
Uh,
where I am at San Francisco, and Marco knows he's been here.
Yeah,
San Francisco is beautiful. I live in a nice area. You know, I'm at the certain point right now in my life that especially if I were to be single, and I always told Marco
mhm.
since day one, because I don't know if Marco remembers that, but there was a period of time that Marco was thinking of moving to LA.
yeah,
Yeah,
And
he
I
told me
said,
that.
yeah, that's great. LA is beautiful, calm. You're going to have a great time. But I told him, I says, look, if I were to be single, young, I would stay in New York as long as I can,
Yeah.
because New York will give you certain things that after that, you'll be able to live anywhere you want in the world.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know if, and Marco stayed in New York. I remember you made the decision to stay in New York at the time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm sticking around for now for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then, eventually we can, once you live in New York for 10 years and you got some, the understanding what the vibe is, you know First of all, we moved to New York City, in my opinion, in my honest opinion. I believe we moved to New York to learn, to get inspired, to see what's happening, to test the water, but at the same time also to see if we can do something musically. Because let's not hide ourselves around the bush. Oh, I moved to New York because I only want to get inspired. I mean, I moved to New York because I want to get inspired. I want to learn. I want to play with people, that I used to see them on the record. But I also want to prove to myself that I can do something.
Right.
So that is the only reason why, to me,
I agree, 100%. Yeah.
Because especially us, I was born in Italy. You guys, from Sicily, beautiful scenery, the sea, and the food, and everything else. We got, we come from a beautiful place, beautiful country.
Yeah. We got all like.
Which New York at the end, it also is also a beautiful city. United States has their own beauty and So I fall in love also with the United States. But the reason why we all moved to New York is because of the music and to prove something to ourselves. But I also believe after that, once you see it, what you are musically, you will always be who you are, even if you move to Alabama or North Carolina or anywhere else. Once you know that, what you can do musically in New York, you can do that anywhere you want. I don't know if you guys agree, but that's the way I see it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially nowadays, it doesn't really make any difference where you live. Especially with the internet right now, you can promote yourself. You can get, you can get into people's house without knocking the door because Instagram, because of Facebook, so the only thing is what you have, the content, your music, your talent, whatever it is, you can live anywhere and still promote yourself, still book yourself concerts and tours, So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to move back to California, because, especially I'm married, I got kids, and this is a more quiet and better environment for me to practice. But if I were young, I might be still in New York. Who knows?
Makes sense, of course.
Pasquale Valerio. Well, that's Nico here.
È una lunga storia, Nico. È lunghissimo questo.
No, infatti, guarda, non cominciamo neanche, guarda.
Io poi sono entrato in questa storia di Los Angeles, però non ho capito ancora perché.
No, in Italia tutti dicono, invece di dire Los Angeles, tutti dicono Los Angeles.
Sì.
No, Los Angeles.
Quindi, Nico, spero che hai capito la storia.
Sì, quindi ora ovviamente forziamo dal lato opposto, non dobbiamo esagerare la dicitura americana, quindi diventa...
È anche un grande amico mio, ragazzi, non so se lo conoscete, Pasquale Valerio, anche lui napoletano, è trombettista classico, ma vive in Florida e lui è direttore d'orchestra, c'è una sua orchestra in Florida dove c'ha tanti ospiti importanti che vengono a suonare, concerti che ne fa con la sua orchestra. Un altro italiano di esserne veramente fieri perché Pasquale Valerio è un grande direttore d'orchestra ed è bravissimo, veramente.
Fantastico.
Allora, ride.
Los Angeles.
Una domanda, ragazzi, ma scusa Marco, te la posso fare una domanda? Ma tua sorella canta?
Questa invece dovete spiegarla voi a me.
Inside joke.
No, allora lo devo spiegare. Spiega. Andiamo a fare, I'm sorry guys, now we're going to talk for a second. We're going to talk Italian for a second for all those friends and great musicians, Italian musicians who are following right now. But we had a recording session year 2001.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
No, 2003. 2003. Yeah. In Rhode Island. Yeah.
Yes, in Rhode Island. So we go to this place we record. Now we start traveling. Was that in the morning when we drove back to New York, or in?
It was the evening. Yeah.
Was the evening?
In the evening. Yeah.
So now I was driving the car, Marco was right next to me. Mentre guidavo la macchina, Marco stava a fianco a me e io facevo finta di dormire.
Sì,
Mentre guidavo, chiudevo gli occhi. Però vedi, Marco, che ovviamente io ci parlavo della mia famiglia, mia sorella, che poi anche lei canta, queste cose qua. Marco, per tenermi sveglio,
facevo domande a caso
Ah sì.
e Marco diceva a fare.
per assicurarmi che fosse sveglio, no?
Si muoveva, sai, magari con la mano cercava di fare il rumore con la porta della macchina. Allora io non lo pensavo proprio, avevo gli occhi proprio socchiusi, no? Che riuscivo a vedere ovviamente con prudenza, però avevo gli occhi che lui pensasse che io stessi dormendo.
Esatto.
Peppe, ma c'è una domanda, ma tua sorella canta?
Così il tormentone del viaggio è diventato questa domanda.
Ormai da 17 anni.
Sì, ma poi un altro episodio. No, signora, scendo alla prossima.
Sull'autobus, infatti, no, we were on the bus in New York, and I think one of us was carrying a backpack, and there was this lady who got really pissed, you know, like kind of New York style, you know, like with a little bit of New York attitude, and so you know, it was really funny, and you know, this thing stuck too, you know, for the past 20 years or so. Yeah.
Sì, questa signora, vabbè, those are moments that will never come back, and I will always remember with joy those moments, man. You know, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Now, let's say I'm gonna ask you guys maybe one more question, and then vado a fare la pappina.
Ci vuole. Sì, perché per te è orario di pranzo adesso.
Sì, here in California it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Perfect.
So, but here it is. A lot of drummers eventually they're going to watch these live videos, and I'm going to ask Dario first. Dario, what do you expect? Which I think this is very important, you know, because it's not coming from another drummer, which is great, but it's coming from a musician that plays a different instrument.
Right.
So, what would you require and expect from a drummer in order to play music? So what the most important things is for you, and you know what is really important and what you're expecting in order for you to play music, you know, as a drummer in the band.
Great question. So I think that probably the most important thing is like the ability of anticipating what you're about to do, right? So, and of course, when you play, you know, for a long time with someone, and sometimes, not always, of course, you have some musician that really knows what you're doing, and they expect that specific idea coming, right? And that makes things much easier. And of course, like listening and the ability of like hearing what you do is, of course, it's like crucial. But this you know, this that I just mentioned is more, I think it's more advanced, right? So you want to have someone that really knows what you're doing and respect what you do, and it gives you that type of idea and background when it comes to comping, that you really need to express yourself better at your best. That's what I think.
Yeah. So in other words, to anticipate and you know, timing.
Exactly. Yeah. And your intention. So the drummer needs to know what you're about to do, and if he knows like earlier, so he can kind of like see things happening even before. So it's just like so easy to play together, because you can really, you know, create like a wonderful interplay where there is almost no struggling for anyone, and you can just like play with the flow. And when it comes, you know, when it happens, it's just so easy, and it's like playing is like flying, right? And when you have that, you know, that drummer, so you win, I think.
Yeah. What about you, Marco?
I just ask for a good sense of time and attention to dynamics, and attention to like different colors, you know, the different colors you can get from the instrument. The perfect example is what Brian Blade does on this song called "Season of Changes," which is on one of his Fellowship records, with his band, The Fellowship. I'm not a drummer, but that really caught my attention. The fact that he starts with mallets, then he goes to brushes, then he goes to sticks, and uh, he really thinks orchestrally, in a way. He really like with changing his vibe and changing, the sticks that he uses. He really makes sure that every section of the song is different.
Yeah.
So to me, that's really, really important, kind of this like orchestral element, instead of just like sticking to the same thing, just really being mindful that the drums have a lot of power in order to mark the different sections of a composition. And also like going from one solo to another, switching, from the right cymbal, to the crash and the other cymbal, little things like this that maybe people take for granted, but they're actually very, very important, to kind of help, the sound of the whole band. So, yeah,
No, I'm glad you talk about this because I always say orchestrating, drumming, like anything that we play, it's nice to orchestrate because drums, to me, maybe because I know a little piano and I play the trumpet, I hear differently. So I agree with you 100% that, try to orchestrate things on the drum on the old kit on the drum set, and orchestrate also the form of the songs by adding colors, switching symbols,
yeah,
you know and yeah, like a lot of people, they nowadays they don't really, for some reason, a lot of young people, they don't really understand that. So I always tell my students to orchestrate. I'm glad you said that, Marco, to orchestrate what any rudiments on a drum set to get a different voice, different melodies,
yeah,
different colors, with dynamic.
yeah,
It doesn't mean that you have to play 7-stroke roll on the snare drum, or just you can orchestrate and get so much out of one rudiments that if
yeah,
you orchestrate it, you can get, you can discover, a whole new world with that.
yeah,
I'm glad you said that because to me, the very first important thing, again, and I will never, is the timing. If you
Right.
play pop,
of course.
if you play funk, jazz music,
Anything.
whatever you play, you
Mhm.
can add all the colors in the world and all
Uh,
the dynamic in the world. If there is no timing, I'm going to hit you until you die.
and that's the first thing I mentioned.
Yeah,
Like
that's it.
time,
Yeah.
like the first
Riccardo.
order of business. Yeah, yeah.
Ciao Riccardo,
Ciao
Riccardo
Riccardo.
Damiani. Riccardo, come stai? Spero stai bene e quest'anno ci mancherai.
Eh già.
Riccardo Damiani, we'll be missing him this year, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So, but anyway, thank you so much for what you said, Marco. That's very important. The same thing, for you anticipating what's happening, which means keep the radars. I call them radars.
Right.
Keep the radars open, and always try to predict and listen. At the end, that's what it is. It's about listening.
Exactly. Yeah.
Listen to what's
Slow it down.
happening in the conversation. Like if somebody comes to me and say, Pepe, you look cute today. I say, oh, really? I'm not gonna go and say, really? Yeah. If you say you look cute today, I says, oh, thank you very much, lady. You know what I'm saying? It's like a conversation,
Exactly. Like respecting the conversation and doing the right thing, right?
Yes. But it was a really a pleasure to see both of you again. And
My pleasure.
thank you so much for your time. And I wanted to remind all of you guys that, again, this Friday, Marco has a show on Friday. Let's say that again, Marco. I
Yeah.
cannot remember the date.
They can get the information on Kolstein.com, KOLSTEIN.com. And I'm going to play a duo with a great guitar player, Tom Dempsey. We're going to do play some standards, that we love. And I'm going to have the opportunity to do the performance on Scott LaFaro's bass that he used, with Bill Evans, for the Village Vanguard sessions. So it's going to be an amazing honor for me, and I really look forward, you joining us. Thank
So,
you.
guys, tune in because Marco Panascia is a wonderful, incredible musician. And I got to say, as a drummer, I had the pleasure to play with a lot of great bass players. You know, Taylor Mitchell, Duane Burnell, so many great bass players that I know and that I played, the great Jeff Berlin. But this man right here, Marco Panascia, he has one thing that I really love: the tone of his instrument, kind of like Ray Brownish, like right there. And the timing is so solid that you need a hammer to, you know. So check him out
I'm gonna use
because
the hammer.
tune in. Marco Panacea is to me, one of the best, my favorite jazz bassist. Now I don't want to say jazz bassist, one of my favorite bass player in the world. So check him out. And the same goes
Right.
for Dario Chiazzolino. I played with him a couple times, and I I heard so much already, and I'm looking forward to play even more with you guys and with Dario,
Me
because
too,
I love his
Pepe. Thanks a
touch,
lot.
I love his melody, I love his sound, and he's you can tell he got he got the history, he got the language, he got the history of the music, the tradition. But he's also very modern, and this guy is like both of them. They're both like 360 degrees, and those are my one of my favorite jazz musicians that I love. So
Grazie
here's
mille, Pepe.
Dario, and check him out. I'm sure you have like a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So check him out on subscribe to YouTube channel. Dario also has a CD out, coming up soon,
Mhm.
actually.
Right.
Which
In a
did
few
you already
months.
decide the title of the CD, or
Uh, I don't want to reveal it actually. It's let's say that yeah, I'm gonna announce it like in probably in a couple of months. And but actually, I'm still like I have like a couple of titles that I'm still like thinking about. But yeah, it's gonna be out like in a few months, and I'm super excited about that. Can't wait to share it with everyone that has been following like for a while. It's gonna be like a just guitar only for like just me and my guitar. So for guitar fans and or guitar nerds, if you want to call it that way.
that's wonderful. So again, Marco and Dario, I love you. I can't wait to see you guys again in person and be able to hug both of you and play some music together.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, and you guys are my brothers. Marco Panaccia and Dario Chiazzolino. Check them out, guys. The best. Ciao,
Thanks
Marco.
a lot.
Ciao.
Thank
Ciao
you.
Peppe, ciao Marco, ciao
Ciao, ragazzi.
ragazzi.
Ciao,
Ciao
ragazzi.
ciao.
Take care. Bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, two great friends, two great musicians, Marco and Dario Chiazzolino. Check them out. Thank you for all of you guys for following, for writing. Please share the videos. And thank you. I'm going to be back soon with some more special guests. And Peppe Merolla friends will always be on every month. This time, maybe once or twice a month. I don't know yet. But today was a great surprise. I was delightful and happy to have two beautiful musicians and friends that I know for a very long time from Italy, living in New York. Much love to you all. Keep drumming, keep playing music. Be safe, strong, and healthy. Much love, Pepe. Bye now.